Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make the Owl House from the show, The Owl House. This is the amount of space required to make the Owl House. And here are all of the materials that we will need throughout the build. Please do make sure that you have access to all of these. Begin by placing 6 polished blackstone bricks in a row on the ground. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then place a cyan terracotta, followed by a dark oak door, then a cyan terracotta. We then want to place 6 more polished blackstone bricks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We then want to extend backwards by 2. 1, 2. Grab the regular stone bricks and extend outwards by 3. 1, 2, 3. Then right 1. Towards us 1. Right by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then extend inwards 1. And then right 1. And then into 1, 2. Place a polished blackstone on the end, and then extend this backwards by 2 blocks. 1, 2. Then we are going to extend across the back of the build, and the idea is that we want to join all the way to the front of the build, although when we get here, we have to make a small room. So the way to do this is to find the third blackstone extending backwards from this corner, so this would be the first one, second, third. Place a blackstone extending outwards. We then want to swap out the dark oak door for a spruce one and place it. Then place a polished blackstone brick, extend backwards by 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then join backwards like this. So we want to add a frame around this door, so this is going to be polished blackstone just like this, and we're going to fill the side of this in as well, and we also kind of simultaneously want to fill the back in kind of equally as we do the front, and then lastly we are just going to grab the yellow glass, and if we place a yellow glass above where the door is, to the right, and then possibly one above it, we might have to change that, and then do the same on the back, then that will be this little outbuilding complete. But saying that, this is kind of the floor plan that we have so far. It kind of almost looks like a mug. With the basic floor plan complete, we are going to work on the entrance. So to start with, we are going to place spruce planks all the way around the actual main entrance door. Then we want to place stone brick wall around the front of the cyan terracotta and the spruce planks. We then want to build up white concrete around the spruce plank area like this. Then we want to grab stripped dark oak logs and build them in rows of 3, left and right of the stone brick wall like this, and flare the top one outwards like so. Now, if we add yet another layer of white concrete all the way around this, on top of the wall, what we can then do is grab the dark prismarine slabs, and if we start off by placing dark prismarine slabs extending outwards diagonally from both of the corners of the logs, and then extend them inwards and upwards in equal proportion, we will end up with a nice pitched roof, which, if we then extend forwards to sit on top of the logs, and then stick a lantern just underneath the top, preferably hanging rather than just sitting on top of the wall, there we have a really nice looking entrance. Next, come to the front right hand corner of the house and place 4 white concrete on top of the corner blackstone. 1, 2, 3, 4. We then want to extend left 1, up 1, left 1, up 1, left 1, and then we want to extend up by 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We then want to extend left 1, and then up by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We then want to extend left 1, up 1, then extend left by 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, extend down 1, left 1, down by 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then extend left 1, down 2, 1, 2, left 1, then down by 2, 1, 2, then left 1, and then down by 2, 1, 2, and then left, and then we can just connect down. So the end result should look like this, and you will notice that it is lopsided. It is different on one side than the other. That is perfectly correct, don't worry about it. So whilst we're up here, well, we weren't up here, but we're going to come all the way up to the top of the build and place a row of cyan terracotta underneath this overhanging row of white concrete. Then we want to take the middle block and place 3 red glass underneath it, 1, 2, 3. On the right side of this, starting from the top, we'll place a yellow, orange, then yellow glass, and on the left side the opposite, orange, yellow, orange, like this. Then we want to simply place cyan terracotta all the way around this. We don't want it to join in the corners. Perfect. So with this complete, what we can now do is place the windows. So the windows are relatively easy to make. If we extend this white concrete here to the left 1, and then down to right 1, stick a flower pot here just to signify that this is a window. So that's window number 1, or window number 2 technically. So we want to take the corner of this window, extend it down like this towards the entrance. Take the block that hits the top of the entrance, extend it left 2, and then up by 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then extend right. So this is a rather long window, and then stick a flower pot just at the base of it. So the next window is really easy to place as well. If we take the top left hand corner of the window that we just made and extend it to the left 1, 2, like this, and then we want to extend down 1, 2, 3, and then left 2, up 1. We're then going to stick a plant pot here, just in this empty space, leave a gap of 1 above it, and then seal up the top. There you go, we have another window. And then, coming down to the bottom left-hand front of the build, we want to take this block here, this black stone, place a white concrete on top of it, extend right 1, up by 2. This is going to be a window, so we'll place a flower pot there. And then if we just pop over here to the right side, we have another window, literally it's right on top of this black stone, and we're going to place a stone brick slab in front of this. And then left of this, 1, 2, 3 white concrete, extend right, and there's not actually a pot on here. So what we can now do, let's just take a little look for a second. What we can now do is kind of just fill in between all of these gaps, and it looks a little bit crazy right now, but if you just take care not to fill in the parts that have plant parts, then you should be left with this. So you can see we have kind of like a weird array of windows. And now that we've done this, we actually have to back these windows with some colourful glass. So we'll start all the way over here on the bottom right side. So it's almost random this, so you can place whichever colour you might prefer. But behind the window, the actual gap itself, we're going to place an orange glass with a yellow glass on top of it. Come over to the opposite side, we're going to place a red glass with an orange glass on top of it on this opposite side. As we come up to this upper window, we are going to place the whole colour range. So behind this row 3, we'll have a red, orange, yellow. And then behind this smaller one here, I think that we'll go for a yellow and then a red. And then last but not least, over here in this little window here, we'll have an orange. So they're very subtle. That's why you can almost choose your own colours. And it's a little bit ambiguous in the actual source material, like what colour is what exactly, because it's all nice and different styles of glass panes. So anyway, now with that complete, we are going to come to the right side of the build, and we are going to join the front to the back by placing a row of polished blackstone. We're then going to build up the side of the house using white concrete. and we have a guide for this. So simply all we have to do is extend these white concretes across just like this and towards the back of the build, and this will actually provide us the shape of the back of the build. So if we do this on both sides, just extend the white concrete parts backwards just as we go all the way around the edge of the front of the build. This will give us a really good guide on what to do next. At this point, I should probably point out that once we have extended these sides backwards, we can then just simply fill the center of the shape at the back end using white concrete. I couldn't find any references that showed the back of the house, so I have chose to leave it blank. It's always better to leave something alone rather than just add random stuff. Next, we want to raise up this tower part of the house on the right side of the build. Begin by placing 7 more rows of stone bricks on top of the shape that we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now that we've done that, what we are going to do is extend these stone bricks so that they almost connect to the build. We'll extend them a couple of rows inwards. We want to have a flat row of 5 on the front and the back, so like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to extend 1 row in on the front and the back, and then we will join it to the actual house itself. Then we are going to add a platform inside of this, which is just made out of stone brick, so this is just 1 row lower. So the idea is that you would actually be able to get up on top of here, and we want to make a door. So the door is going to be 3 rows high like this. It's going to be made out of magenta terracotta, and we are going to have a fake, but well, it's a real button, but it gives the appearance that this fake door can be opened. Alternatively, you can also provide a way to actually get in and out of the house. All we have to do, of course, is provide ourselves a little platform that we can actually get out from. So that also works as well, and then you probably don't even need the button, but I think it's a nice touch regardless of whether you have the door or not. This house has a weird set of roofs. The first one that we're going to add is the easiest. So on the right side here, we want to place a layer of dark prismarine that kind of just sits next to this tower here. It kind of fills in the gaps and it comes up as high as this. So you can kind of see, if you kind of like tilt off to the side, it sort of looks like Mario's mustache. Well, we want to extend the dark prismarine forward so that it overhangs the front of the build like so, and we will also be able to achieve this effect on the back of the build as well, and that's literally what we want to do. So we do the exact same thing, extend it 1 row off the back of the build, and that's perfect. It's a nice little half roof. We are also going to place some stripped dark oak logs, and the positioning for these is going to be here, so next to the stone bricks and here, and they're going to be 3 rows high in total, just extending upwards, right? and you can actually place a dark prismarine on top of this, extend it towards the house, and then extend the dark prismarine so that it overhangs the front of the build, and also, if we extend it all the way to the back, overhangs the back of the build by 1 row as well. So just kind of show you like how equal this is, and oh, and also it wants to overhang the dark oak logs as well by 1 row, so you kind of get an idea for all of the positioning of this. And the roof is a little bit interesting. So if we take this front overhanging dark prismarine so that we can make the outline, we want to basically follow the shape of the white concrete of the roof. So if we basically just snake along the outside of the white concrete shape that we have made, even extending all the way down to, see, this is where things get a little bit tricky. So if we extend this back a little bit, and then around the shape of what I'll call kind of like this outhouse here, then we want to drop this 1 row down like this, and then I do believe that we want to add a little slab just here and here. So let's just take a look at what we've just made here, right? So if we take a look at it like this, it seems a lot less complicated, and you can see, so it only gets really tricky over here on the left. So like where the roof kind of like, it has to extend in and kind of like extend around this little outhouse here. Yeah, there we go. Although I'm thinking that we'll just take this block and extend it to the left by 1, just like this, instead of like dropping it down another row, so it just sits up above the door. And we can take these blocks and we want to actually extend them forwards anyway. It all wants to be the same level as the roof, but I just thought it'd actually be a bit easier to demonstrate the shape of this if we actually followed that. So all we've got to do really is now extend backwards all of the dark prismarine slabs, of which there aren't many, all of the actual dark prismarine blocks. We want to extend all of these backwards, right? And they will cover up any holes that we have in the roof. Just make sure that it overhangs the back of the build by 1 row, extend all of this backwards, and that will be a huge amount of the structure complete. Now, with the roof complete, I want to add something that I would 100% forget otherwise. On the right side of the build, where we have the little tower here, I'm just going to knock out these 2 blocks just diagonally down from the edge of this roof and place some stone brick wall in here to give the appearance of a window. I could see myself forgetting that so easily. And you know what, there are a couple of other little things that we may as well add whilst we're here. So hanging off of the corner of this roof, we want to place a chain, and underneath it an open spruce fence gate. This is kind of like a wind chime. Then on this wall here, we are going to place a flower pot with an allium in it. We also want to add some leaves kind of like hanging off of this tower. So if we add to say like 1, 2, 3, and by the way, I really like azalea leaves for this, hanging off this tower and then kind of like extend it back and kind of like, you know, just make it look as though it's kind of like hanging off naturally. I think that that looks really good. Once again, I couldn't find any reference images for the back of the tower, but a little bit of extra like flower pots and stuff certainly wouldn't hurt, so do feel free to add a little bit of decoration here, you know, the odd lantern here and there, maybe even above the door, just to kind of like show that it's possible to get in here, but nothing too crazy. I don't want to add like weird things to the back of the house or anything like that where I'm 100% certain there aren't any details, or I'm not 100% certain that there are not, I should say. All of these flower pots want filling in with something, like there's kind of like unidentifiable weird plants in them, so like I'm going to use a fern over here, a dandelion over here, maybe a sapling or two for the other ones, maybe like an oak sapling and an acacia sapling. Let's take a look at this. That looks really good. So on top of the house, right in the center, there is a weather vane. So we're going to place 2 spruce fence on top of each other, then extend the second fence outwards using a spruce fence gate. And then originally I actually placed a brown candle, which looks really good. And I actually forgot it from the item list since it's such a niche little one-off item, but it does look kind of cool. On the left side of the house, there is kind of like a little extension or a room, however you want to think of it, and it basically is directly above the outhouse area that we have, and it almost kind of like extends directly up from it. So it starts on this dark prismarine here. It's made using light blue terracotta. It is, to begin with, 3 rows high, actually kind of 4 rows high, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and it is as long as the actual building underneath. So if we just extend it and line and measure it up like this, you can see that it's directly in line with the blackstone. Then, as long as we get the height correct on this left side here, what we can then do is extend it just towards the center of the building, like so, and it will just like join together rather naturally. Now, what we then want to do, and we also need cyan terracotta for this as well, is we want to place light grey terracotta just in front of this corner here, extend the terracotta so that it extends up and over like this, and also 1 row backwards, so we're looking for like a square just built into this corner. We're then going to extend the light grey terracotta up and up and up, so we want it to be, so like we want it to hit the height of the roof, and then we're going to add 2, so 1, 2. Then we're going to add a cyan terracotta on top and then a hopper. And we're actually going to do this for each one of the light grey terracotta, so they all want to be as high as each other. This is a giant chimney stack, and like I said, as long as it's at the very least 2 rows higher than the top of the house, everything is good. So let's take a look at that. That's looking great. So the only thing that we have to do now is just assimilate the light blue terracotta into the house. So we're going to stick dark prismarine slabs just hanging along the side of it, right, so that's going to overhang the front and the back. Then we're going to extend those slabs inwards and upwards so that it eventually hits the chimney, but we're going to come to the back and you're going to find that we have to actually extend it further on the back because there's no chimney for anything to hit. And we can choose to kind of like leave it at that. Actually, it just connects better if we just extend it this far. And we want to have the same thing on the front, so we just have to add an extra brick here. And then we also have to add extra terracotta just to fill in this gap. And we will find that every other layer of the roof is actually a dark prismarine brick. So if we extend those from front to back and place slabs in between, then that looks really good. And that will give us this, which is, by the way, I mean, this is almost pretty much the entire house. Obviously, there's the cool tower to the left, but this is the house part pretty much complete. The positioning for this tower is really simple, so we want to come to the back left-hand corner of the build, and from the corner of this little outbuilding here, we want to leave a gap of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And on this 6th block, we want to place 5 stone bricks extending right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stick a stone brick wall on the end. Extend forwards by 5 stone bricks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stick a wall on the end. Extend across by 5 using stone bricks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Stone brick wall on the end. Extend backwards using 5 stone bricks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. stick a stone brick wall in the corner, and that will give us this shape. So, what we now want to do from here is extend every single one of these stone bricks and the stone brick wall upwards. We are looking to make the tower as high, first of all, as high as the chimney stack that we have, and then we're actually going to make it a bit taller. So I'm just building up as high until we can see the chimney, which is really high up actually, so where we have those hoppers over there. So we're going to do that, right? And then we're going to go 3 rows high, so 1, 2, 3. And this is what we are going to do with all of these stone brick blocks. So now that we have achieved the height of the tower, we are going to extend the top of it 1 row outwards, kind of like all the way around the edge, and we're going to make sure that it connects together in the corners. It's probably easier just to take the stone brick wall layer off at the top here. Then, underneath the lip that we've kind of like created here, we are going to place upside down stone stairs like this, 1 row inwards away from each other and from the edge, so kind of like centered in the middle of the tower somewhat. Then at the top of this, we are going to extend the corners out like this, so kind of like in that sort of like mustache shape or an M or a W, you know, Wario Mario. And then we're going to extend the corners up another row, and then we want to take the 3 middle blocks up and then extend the very center up too. So it's given it a really interesting shape, and we're actually going to do this on, at the very least, the front 2 corners. So we want to have the same sort of thing, and then we're going to kind of like extend this over a block or so, and just kind of like maybe take a block out here or there. So kind of just to, you know, change it a little bit, and then maybe on the back we'll have kind of like a similar thing, but we won't extend every block up. So the tower is meant to look a little bit dilapidated. And at the very top of the tower as well, we are also just going to add a top in, just using cyan terracotta. So we can walk around this if we like. You can add a staircase, and that just looks pretty good. It's also worth mentioning that at the top of this tower, there is also like multiple plant pots and stuff. So feel free to add these, and maybe a choice of saplings or something like that, or you know, whatever it is you like. It's whatever your personal favorite might be. You know, feel free to add these to the plant pots. And annoyingly, you know, I added the same one to the plant pots, but kind of like a nice little mix. Looks pretty good. So for the tower, we actually have to add a door, and this is going to be 2 rows off the ground. So I'm just going to place, using magenta terracotta, 2 magenta terracottas extending up from the front of the center of the tower, and then behind this we are going to have a spruce door. And then there is actually some like moss or some vines or something on the side of this tower, so if you like, you can actually like knock out some of this right corner at the very least, maybe even above the door like this, and then extend up a few rows, so literally a few 3 rows above the tower, and then take out like 1, 2 here, so kind of like turn it into a corner feature. So if we come to the right side, dig out 1, 2, 3, and then if we dig this out and make it kind of like equal to the front of the tower, and then 2 blocks here, 1 block here, so you can see that we've kind of took the corner, and then replace the lower blocks using red terracotta. So just above the door, we'll place red terracotta like this, right? That looks really good. And then if we kind of like place 2 terracotta here on the side, extending directly up above the door, and then 1 here, and then 2 at the edge, 1 here in the corner, and then we'll use pink terracotta to kind of like fill in the gaps. And it kind of sort of looks like moss. It's not as good, obviously, but you know, it looks pretty good. It makes it a little bit more interesting. It kind of like breaks up the corner of the tower a little bit. And what we're going to do from here is kind of like figure out where we want the boundary of the tower shape to end. So we are going to place stone on the right side of the tower, extending forwards like this, and we want the stone to extend forwards until we are overhanging the roof part here just by 1. And then extend right 2, just like so. I'm thinking that maybe we add another row so that it leaves a gap of 1 from the roof at least. So we want to leave a gap of 1 from the roof, extend over by 2, and then we're going to place a row of 1, 2, 3 stone stairs, stone on the end, extend the stone across. When we hit the boundary, so we'll leave 1 row away from the boundary, then we'll extend in, out, and then all the way in. We'll hit the tower, we'll even join it to it, I suppose. And then the stone wants to have another row added on top of it, just all the way around, just like this. And we also want to have stone kind of like just sit around the edge of the tower, just like so. So I think that we'll join it into the corner here, just around the edge. And we'll just knock out the wall because like the tower doesn't actually come this far down anyway. And there we go, that's really good. That's absolutely perfect. And then if we add another row of stone stairs just here, it's also worth mentioning that there's like a rock formation here as well. We've actually kind of like ran out of space inside of the grid, but the rock formation would look a little something like this, just like right next to the stairs in front of this. And then we're going to fill the top of this in using magenta terracotta. Now, up on this little cliff area that we've kind of made here, we are going to add a tree. So this tree is made using stripped oak logs, and we are going to place it 1 row in front of the left side of this tower. We'll leave a gap of 1, and then we'll place like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We'll start off with like 6 stripped dark oak logs, and then we are going to take the 3rd block and place purple terracotta all the way around it like this, and then extend the middle out anywhere that we can, so just above this door here. It might even look a little bit better if the tree was just off to the left another row as well, but it's okay, we can leave it there. And then we're going to leave a gap of 1, and then we're going to do the exact same thing, so we'll place the terracotta all the way around, extend the centers of it out. We're going to take the middle, we'll extend it up another couple of rows, and then we are going to add just purple terracotta around the middle, like this, not even joining in the corners. And then we'll leave a gap over 1, and then we'll place 2 terracotta on top of each other. So it's almost as if the door's like a little bit of a secret, and it's just kind of like a nice stripped looking tree. It just looks pretty good, I think. And you could even place it like an additional row in front of the door, but I like the idea that it kind of like enhances the tower a tad. And we also want to kind of just add some podzol into the ground, kind of like sparingly. And we want to place either warped roots or nether sprouts in here, and we're going to place some closer to the tower as well, just like this, and maybe even a little bit just behind this tree, kind of like just sporadically, and I think that might be enough. I think that looks really good. That's perfect. So the next thing that we are going to do is add a couple of barrels over here onto the right side of the build, just underneath the tower like this. I think that these are actually like a set of plant pots, so if we want to make this look a little bit better, we can have item frames, and then is there something cool that we can put in here? Maybe crimson roots might look nice, so just on the top, place some crimson roots. I think that looks pretty good. The entrance has kind of like an interesting path in front of it, we'll call it. So we'll extend a couple of rows out in front of the entrance, literally 2 in front of these stone brick walls. Replace those using light grey concrete, and then we're going to dig just 3 blocks around the edge of these dark log posts that we have, and place cyan terracotta in there. And then from here, we actually just have to like completely replace the surrounding ground. You don't have to, but kind of like it is kind of like more in line with the actual build. So basically the idea is this: you want to dig out all of the remaining area inside of the grid, you want to replace some of the area on the front, kind of connecting the main entrance and then the side pathway leading up to the tower, replace that area sort of with sand, kind of like you want it to sort of like blend seamlessly with the rest of the area that we are going to make using magenta terracotta. So that is going to be, instead of grass, so we'll have a nice blend of sand and magenta terracotta. Dispersed within this, we are going to have podzol with the sprouts and the roots, and we are also going to have a couple of aberrant stones placed in front of the actual main entrance as well. If you like, you can also place an additional tree or 2, similar to what we have in front of the tower, maybe on the back right side of the build to kind of balance things out. I can't believe that I almost forgot this, but there is a small window on the upper right side of the roof. It is directly in line with the doorway that is just below it. It is 2 rows away from the top of the ridge of the roof that we are placing it on. It is basically just 2 rows of white concrete with a yellow window right in the center and a dark prismarine slab roof. Really easy to make. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, you will have fully completed the owl house. I hope that you guys have enjoyed this tutorial. Please do remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.